It's on you, baby.
I don't
We're
know where the
live.
camera is. Hello and welcome to the show, episode 12, season 3. And we trust you all ate your weight in turkey and stuffing, and now it's time to work it off. You gonna work it off?
I'm gonna work it off.
And while it's not technically December, we are off and running, talking about building up your business.
Today we're super excited to have guests Kyle Berger and Joe Tam. Tracy and I can't wait to hear how these two leaders are building up their businesses.
We always like to start our show off by thanking our sponsors and our partners. The Connect Show is brought to you by Connect Media Live, helping businesses reach one-to-many through social media, video, and web development. If you would like to convert from one-to-one, Connect Media Live can help. Visit us at Connect Media Live.
We would also like to thank our hosting sponsor, Expansive Workspace, where we broadcast this show every single week, every Tuesday. It's a great community to be a part of. They have great coffee, but
Water.
The community and friends are even better. Water's great. There was a water fight on what flavor water was the best a few weeks ago. It was kind of fun. So it's, do you do lemon? Do you do cucumber? Whatever. I love working at Expansive every week. Visit expansive.com for more information on being a part of the community.
And as always, we're very thankful that you come to watch the Connect Show. If you have a topic that we should be discussing, please email us at theideas@theconnectshow.com.
Our thanks again to last week's guests, John Morley and Francois Lupien. It seems like a really long time ago to have had a show with the holiday that just fell right in there. We both guys just had such great information, and it was like we could have talked to both of them literally forever, I think. So, but how was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good.
Yeah.
I had 3 of them.
You had 3 of them. I just had one. I just had one.
My whole refrigerator is stacked with containers of turkey and stuffing.
Oh boy.
How about you?
You know, I mean, we have sick family, but we still made the best of it. I cooked my heart out, and we just kind of I can't think of the right word, swap containers of food. So so-and-so brought mashed potatoes over. We put that in one container, and we just kind of swapped the food around and made it work.
Nice.
And that's the key, right? Making it work.
Yeah.
Like whatever happens, and everybody has a different holiday experience.
Yeah.
I always like to ask people, what was the best thing you ate? Tracy, what was the best thing you ate over the Thanksgiving?
My butterboard.
Your butterboard?
Oh, she loves a butterboard. Have you seen him on TikTok?
No.
You're going to have to look them up.
I feel like I saw one, but I didn't watch the video. I have to watch it now. All right. I'm in for a butterboard.
Yeah. I love sweet potatoes. They're my favorite. I don't like the ones with the marshmallow junk on top.
No?
Nope.
You don't like pecan crusted candied sweet potato casserole?
Nope. I like just butter and brown sugar. They are my favorite. My mom's made them since I can remember, but that's my favorite. How about you? What's your favorite?
I don't know if I love stuffing, but the fact that I have it so rarely makes me love stuffing. So I always have seconds of stuffing. I really do like it, but
is it the good stuffing with like the cranberries and the onions and all the stuff in it?
So onions, celery, bunch of other stuff. I'm anti-cranberry. Don't tell the Wisconsin State fruit board or whoever it is. But I'm anti-cranberry. I don't like raisins. There's something about, if it's a cran grape juice and it's more grape than cran, I'll take it, but I don't love cranberry. And my mother-in-law makes this cranberry ice, like a palate cleanser in between courses that everybody loves and they rave about. And if you like cranberry, John, maybe I could get some for you. But I always pass. And last year I messed up the recipe. I added too much lemon. So it tasted like a lemon ice. And it was amazing.
You were super happy.
I was so happy, and everybody was so mad at me. It was great. So this year we went back to cranberry, and so that was that.
I prefer the leftovers. I make this like turkey cordon bleu casserole after with with the stuffing and the turkey, and then I put broccoli in it, and I make a better. I don't know. I don't really like turkey that much.
So we did turkey and dumplings last night. That's one of our, and then we have enough turkey. We're going to do a curry turkey later in the week.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
And the girls eat the turkey and dumplings. They don't always eat the curry turkey. That's more for the adults.
Well, sure. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So Mitch, who do we have going on today?
Yeah, really excited for our guests today. Two really exciting leaders and business professionals in the community. Joe Tam is here, UW in the house, UW Whitewater. It's not Jake, it's Joe from State Farm, which I told him when he got here today. And I said, I bet you've never heard this before. And I said, I'm being super original. No, I know that he's heard it a million times. Joe is super involved in his local community. I wouldn't be surprised if his family and mine passed each other at some point at Whitnall Park on some summer adventures. He's got a background in finance with GE, and I believe he either just opened or is in the process of opening a brand new office. And so we're going to hear all about that as it pertains to building up your business. So really excited that Joe is here with us today. And then Kyle's here as well. He's the owner of KB Breakthrough Consulting. He's a coach and a trainer, and he's focused on leaders. So, one of the things that he'll talk about is that, once you become a leader, your learning should just be starting, not ending. I think we've all been part of corporate America where you become a leader just by, they promote whoever's next as opposed to promoting who makes the most sense. And then once they're a leader, they think they can be done learning because they know everything. Well, good leaders know that they don't know everything and that they are open to learning, which is amazing.
Love that.
Yep. He was at NML. He learned at UWM and at WCTC. He went to Miami of Ohio, not Miami, Florida, Miami of Ohio. He got his MBA at UWM, and he's a yogi. Is that right? There's some yoga. All right. So I don't think he's going to bust out the mats today.
Boy, when you said yogi, I was thinking like Yogi Bear. I was getting confused. I'm like, is this like some sort of college thing that I don't know about, or
no?
Yogi is short for a person who does yoga a lot.
Yeah, like a teacher. Yeah,
learn something new today.
Absolutely, it's amazing what you can learn. Usually, I learn it on LinkedIn. Today, I dug into Kyle's Facebook, so I did steal it from there. So really excited to have them both here. Real quick, Joe shot his first deer this week, which is, that's a very, that's a Wisconsin rite of passage, and excited about that. And Kyle shared with us that his parents are Irish and German. And so I'm sure there was some good flavor in the house, growing up, two nations that haven't always gotten along, but they produced Kyle. And so we're happy about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll find out if Joe's wearing khakis, because that's like the State Farm thing, right?
Yeah, and the red shirt and the khakis. Yeah, exactly. So Joe and Kyle, really excited for them to be here, and that's going to be a great show.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Mitch.
You bet.
So the Connect Show is better when it's interactive. So please add your comments in the chat. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube under the Connect Show with Jon and Tracy, and we will bring up the comments and add them into the conversation. And this is a great opportunity to get expert advice, to help your business grow.
Amazing. We're super thankful. We're all volunteers at the Connect Show. Not a single one of us gets paid. We give away everything. So if you want to be a part of the Connect Show team, email us at ideas@theconnectshow.com. We want to thank everyone that's already involved. And even to those of you that contributed in the chat, that is a tremendous help. Sharing the videos is a help. You're a volunteer just if you share our live streams. So let's help connect local businesses and bring everyone together. So let's hear from one of the volunteers.
One of the things I wanted to talk about today, and especially with the mindset in business, is a lot of smaller companies. And I know a lot of you guys out there deal or have smaller companies. And so when it comes to that, a lot of people are always, the customer comes first, the customer comes first. Maybe at the expense of time or sleep or anything you have to do or take out of your day because you have to get this done for the customer. And what I always try to tell people is it's not always just about the customer. It's about your employees. It's about your company. And so when you can take the mindset off of, I have to please the customer, I have to do everything for the customer, not only does it free up some of your time, but it also gives your employees that sense of value. And so when I'm talking about the client doesn't always come first, this is a new mentality for some people. And so what has to happen within this is you have to have a balance. It has to be a balance between the customer, it has to be a balance between the employee, and it has to be a balance between the business. Because let's face it, we're not in business for no apparent reason. We're in business to make money. We're in business to fuel our spirit, or if it's our passion. So we're in business for a reason. And we work at a company for a reason. And so the mentality of the customer comes first loses why the employee is working for you. It loses why you're working so hard and losing sleep for the bottom line.
Lori always had such great stuff to say at our Fusion event. She was a tremendous speaker at our event. Love it. Thank you, Lori. Our quote of the day: when everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off first against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motor Company.
That is a good quote. That helps you remind you that when you're going through like a tough time, that everybody goes through a tough time before they're going to get to where they want to get to.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a rough morning, that's okay. You're against the wind, but continue to take off. I like that.
Keep going, right?
Yeah, that's going to be
Just
my
keep
mantra
going.
for
Just
today.
keep. Yeah, I know. I told you. I said this is going to be a good one for me today.
Yeah, it makes you smile, so I like it.
So our topic this month was all about accelerating your business. So our question of the day for everybody over there in the chat, in the audience, and for us, what is one thing that you've done to accelerate your business this year?
It's a great question.
I love it. Let's
one thing
start with,
one thing I haven't done, but every morning I wake up saying I'm going to do is TikTok.
Oh.
And I know and
You're going to make a TikTok?
Right, that I'm going to do it daily. Yeah, because I'm on TikTok, but I'm not consistent with it. And I think, we've heard from so many of our experts that one of the keys has got to be consistency, whatever you're going to do. And so I wake up every morning and in my head, I'm going to be consistent with TikTok. I'm going to do a TikTok every day, or I'm going to do 3 TikToks every day, or I'm going to do at the same time every day. And I haven't yet, but like the seed is planted.
You're getting ready to get ready.
Exactly. I'm getting ready to get ready. I know it. I know I haven't activated it yet. I know I just got to jump in with both feet, jump at the deep end and just do it. But I think that's the type of thing that can help accelerate your business is when you start doing, whether it's social media or whether it's networking or whether it's investing money into a piece of equipment that you've been looking for. It's that consistency. And so the first step, the thought process is there. Now I just need to jump in.
So what you need is a little bit of the mastermind group to help hold you accountable.
Yes.
And say, all right, Mitch, did you do it this? Because you used to be really good with your Facebook Lives and doing it every day.
Yes, I was.
I don't know if you're still doing
not as consistently.
Yeah, there must be something making a block there that there's like too many steps or too many things you want to do with the TikTok thing, and then it stifles you to not do it. It's not easy enough yet.
Right.
We're going to tell you to set an alarm on your phone every day, no matter what you're doing, drop it in TikTok.
Right.
Just do it.
TikTok.
Just do
because I don't want to make a fancy TikTok. I don't want to edit video.
No.
I just want it to be organic. Like I'm like the old dad who's dumb on TikTok and doesn't know what he's doing. Like that's my shtick because that's who I am.
Those are the best people to follow, though.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I just gotta. So you're right. Maybe just having an alarm and just whatever I'm up to or whatever's on my mind that 30 seconds, just throw it up on TikTok and see how it goes. All right.
How about you?
I've really accelerated this year. So I have, I'm always trying new things, I think, and that's part of the acceleration. I think one of the biggest things that I've done is like with the mastermind and the accountability. And I took, I started the food truck website. And it started slow, but I'm being super organic with it, but I'm being intentional. I'm making sure I'm sending a newsletter every month. And it really does accelerate when you set your goals, you stick to them, and they just become habit. You're like, then you start to feel really guilty if you haven't done it. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't send that newsletter yet. Now I feel terrible because it's helping to accelerate this thing that I started. So I've done a lot of that, and a lot of the accountability is really what has helped accelerate me in goal setting.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tracy?
Yeah.
How about you?
One thing that I've done differently that I haven't done as much in the past is offload my work to other people.
Doesn't it feel good?
It does.
But how scary was it?
It is a little scary.
Yeah.
Like I still have some hangups where I'm still a little hesitant on, doing some specific things, but I figure, you know, everybody else that has great businesses, they got all the people doing it for them.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's tough too, because it's a lot of trial and error when you're
Mhm.
passing things off to people, like, you know, that accountability, you have to have the mindset that now you have to follow up with the people all the time.
Mhm.
Instead of doing the task, now you have to follow up with the
Yep,
people.
it's a
and
totally
see.
different.
So it's a different.
It's
yeah,
different.
It's
It's still work, but it's a different kind of work.
Mhm. And then if they don't do it, now you don't have the time set in it, so you still, like, you gotta play in that a little bit.
Mhm,
But
mhm, mhm.
letting people do things on their own is important too. So
Yep.
but
I
I've watched you accelerate with that a lot this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mhm.
And I'm getting better at doing the follow up, like you're talking about, and then setting the time, and then teaching them how to do the stuff.
Yeah.
Is something I didn't anticipate either. Like, I'll just find the people who know how to do it. Oh, no. You got to go find people that you can actually
You
teach
have
how
to
to do
teach
it.
them how to do it, because the people that know already,
They're already
probably doing something and
right,
busy.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, do we have anybody in the audience with any questions or comments? John? Love the cozy set today.
Oh, thanks,
Oh,
Adam.
Adam, thank you.
Thanks for noticing.
It's our expansive buddy, Adam.
Yep. Just
He
need a
needs
fireplace.
He's not wrong.
There's some pretty fireplaces going on in expansive. I've
And
seen
a
'em.
Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
Dr.
next month.
Shantina's watching us. Hello. That's our
Mhm.
fusion winner.
That is.
Super
Mhm.
happy to see you, Dr. Gladney.
Yeah.
And as always, John is in the back running everything behind the scenes, making us all look good. So thank you, John. And thanks for bringing up the chat. Are we about ready to get on moving for some
We
guest
are.
time?
Do we have another video you can play, John?
So usually if someone says, you know, Pat, I need help, I don't know what to do next, and it just feels like I'm a little bit overwhelmed. The conversation goes like this, and nodding and smiling from the Idea Collective members in the room, they'll know. The first question will be, okay, if you were independently wealthy, you could do anything on the planet, what in your business brings you joy? Because if you're an online business manager, let's use that as an example. Well, I know an online business manager, and she's tremendously talented. She can do client communication. She can do email marketing. She can do social media management. She can do event production. She can do all these different things. But what's funny is when you ask someone, what's the thing that you love doing more than anything? They usually have an answer right away. Oh, I love producing online events. Great. So if you had a business where all you did was produce online events, would that bring you joy? Hell yeah. Okay, we're on to something. So that's step one. Step two then is, okay, if you could do it for anyone, who would you do it for? Like pie in the sky, anybody. Well, I got a bunch of different clients. Okay, great. But who's the one that, like, you can't wait till they call? You love to serve them the most. Well, I don't know if I can do this, but the person that I love helping the most is kind of like, she's a female founder. She's starting her own business, and she's really got big ideas. Like, oh, okay. So if you could do it for anyone, you wouldn't do it for old dudes like me. You would do it for visionary female founders, right? Yes. All right. So let's make sure that this magic wand is loaded here. If you could do anything, you would do online events for visionary female founders, right? Yes. Would that feel like work? No. That would be the greatest job ever. Awesome. That's what you need to go do. So if that was your life, would you be happy? And normally they're like, blink a couple times. Yeah, that would be really amazing. Now, why does this work? The reason why it works is that everyone, me included, you included, we are all smart enough to get paid for a lot of different stuff. Melena's in the audience. I'm not going to call her out, but we've had this conversation. When you're smart like Melena, you can get paid to do a zillion different things. But there's probably only one or two things that bring you so much joy it doesn't feel like you're working anymore.
Pat Miller from the Idea Collective.
Very, very good.
Yeah, very good. He ended our fusion event. I just
Yes.
love that we just keep getting to relive those moments. So good.
So our first guest of the day is here, Joe Tam. He was born in Dayton, Ohio, and raised right over here in Waukesha. Before opening Jotam State Farm, he worked in the finance industry at General Electric. His experience at his insurance office has taught him how to provide the right protection for his customers, ranging from auto insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance, life insurance, boat owners insurance, and finance. You have every insurance possible, and financial services.
His State Farm insurance office is in Greenfield, Wisconsin, and he opened his doors in January of 2007, a second location.
Mm-hmm. He is
August
accelerating his
August
business.
1st. So let's go back to the question of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you accelerate your business? And Joe is not wearing khakis, people.
I'm not.
Not a red shirt either.
No. You know, it came back. Is this my time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it came back. I was telling Kyle before the show, 10 years ago, I was sitting in a meeting and I kept pointing to not visibly, but I was pointing to my employees saying, if I could get them to do this, if I could get them to do that. And I don't know what it was in that meeting, but I sat back and I thought, the problem's me. Until I fix myself in my leadership, I can't lead them appropriately, right?
Ooh.
And pivotal moment, humble moment, right?
Yeah.
I have the cringe saying that right now, but it was. You have to, I don't want to use it, we'll just say fix yourself before you can lead appropriately and get to that next level. I was managing well, but I could never get to that next level unless I became an effective leader.
Managing and leading are two totally different things. I think it's beautiful that you found that in yourself, and don't be ashamed of it because you found it and you fixed it, and now you have 2 locations. So you did something right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is your background and licensing that allows you to do what you do? What led you up into where you are today?
Yeah, Tracy, kind of what you said earlier. So I have a degree with finance at Whitewater, all 4 lines of insurance, 663, 65 when it comes to retirement planning. We have mortgage certified, we're bank certified. So think of us as we can help you in any facet in a financial situation, right? And what that allows us to do is if you go to a bank, they're going to push you bank products. If you go to insurance, they're going to push you insurance. If you go investment, we have them all. We just educate and advise. And it's up to them to decide what they want to do or not do for that matter. And I think that's helped me lead the team and explain that to them so then they don't feel like it's a sales conversation, that we're just here. My best salesperson in her mind thinks she's customer service, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Because of that, because we're just here to help.
Unbelievable. Like kind of a one-stop shop. So that sounds great. Why else choose the Jotam agency? What else makes you unique and fabulous?
Yeah, it gets back to the leadership. So I've developed in all of my employees, they're a leader in whatever capacity they're doing. So whether they're in service, whether they're in sales, whether they're in claims, payments, late pays, I mean, we have it all, right? And it took a little bit of time. It took a little bit of stepping back and running with them. If they made a mistake, we stand behind it. If they do something well, we stand behind it, right?
Yeah.
Because in my olden self, I'll take care of it. But then they would never learn and develop. That was the old manager in me, right? Now the leader in me is coaching them through it before the appointment, during the appointment if I need to, after the appointment. A lot of them now, I don't even need to be there. And a lot of other fellow agents say, well, you just have it easy. Well, they didn't see the behind the scenes in the 6 months, the year, the 2 years, whatever it took for that person to get there today.
Isn't that scary though? So, because that's what I was just talking about, is bringing people on to do some of the work, and then you teach them how to do everything, but you spend all the time with them. And then what happens
100%.
if they, now all of a sudden they take a different job somewhere? Hopefully they don't, but doesn't that fear affect, like, does it
100%.
step in and take over sometimes?
So what I realized when I managed,
Yeah.
it's not a bad word, but to get to that next level, to me it is. Price was important, if they got a better job, those sort of things. But when you empower them and they lead, a wage is still important. I'm not neglecting that, but
they're
they
less
have
likely.
more buy-in. They're less more likely to leave. When we build our business plan every year, which happens to be Thursday, they have a part in it. So they're invested emotionally and monetarily, and that
Nice.
helps.
I think the leadership is super important with that aspect of it. That makes everything super important, and how you're leading. They're feeling vested. They're feeling a part of the team. They don't have a reason to go out and find something else. One thing I learned is through different scenarios, and I probably shouldn't bring up the specifics, but one person leaves a company, no big deal, right? Another person leaves a company, people start wondering, where are they going? People still talk after they leave that company, and then they're going to say, so and so is paying X amount, so and so is paying X amount, and then you start to have like a flood of people going if you're not giving them that vested interest in staying. So if you're able to hold people in, they're not even out there looking. They're feeling like they have the ownership and that they.
So then when they're hit up on LinkedIn to talk to someone, they don't.
They don't
Or if I
because
have
they
a
don't
big
care.
If I have a big decision to make, I know the answer.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to be humble enough to say, what do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether they come up with the right answer or not, you know what? Sometimes they come up with a better answer. I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not always. So they have, just because we're the leader doesn't mean we have to come up with the answer.
So how many employees do you lead currently?
8 total, 3 at the new office, 5 at the existing office, we'll call it.
Where's the new office? Are they both in Greenfield?
They're about 2 miles apart. 76 in Layton is the new office, August 1st. I will admit, for the first 60 days, I told Tracy a little bit of a whirlwind and how to navigate the water and things. I feel like we're in a rhythm now. The existing location is 99th and Layton, so that's why I say about 2 miles away. Super convenient, super fun. Took over for an agent who retired July 31st, so we took over for her August 1st at the second location.
That's beautiful.
Excited.
Yeah, that is
great.
exciting. I love that's acceleration right there.
So what are your long-term goals? How many locations are you thinking you're going to end
I
up
don't know.
with?
State Farm just allowed this. They call it MOA program, multi-office agent, and they currently allow 3 as we speak.
Okay.
Could it be more? I don't know. If I can effectively lead and work on my business, not in the business, on the business on a daily basis, the sky's the limit. If I have to be in the business, which I'm a manager, I'm done.
Yep.
And so the answer is 3 would be getting to it.
Yeah. Till they start making State Farm commercials about Joe.
Right.
Yeah. In khakis with a deer.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We have, I think he caught that. There we go. There we go.
So tell us about one big failure that you later realized was a success.
I struggled with that question, but it came down to my management skills at the beginning. So I was an effective manager, and I knew that turned into a success, but I just couldn't get to the next level until I got to that leadership role. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I was successful to a point, and then I plateaued.
Yeah.
And then I realized 2 things were going to happen. One, I was going to die of a heart attack because I had to do everything in my hands, and everything. So like you said,
I can
Tracy,
relate to that very well at the moment.
It mentally was hard to delegate, and it took me a while, and that's why I said the problem was me.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a success to a point, and then it became a failure until I could figure out how to navigate that water. So I felt comfortable, but also the team felt comfortable, and they could be an extension of myself.
I'm telling you, that ownership is killer right there. The ownership of that is.
And it takes time. It probably took me 6 months to a year just to, fix myself.
Did you do any special trainings or read any specific books
so
or
I got
anything?
involved. One of my older employees, he's not with me anymore, but so it happens, right? Was in a leadership program, and I believe in drip knowledge. I hate to admit it, I don't listen to the news a lot at night. I don't do those things because mentally you go to bed.
Oh, I'm with you. I stopped 2 years ago.
You hear something negative, and then you wake up like I used to do as a kid, and I listen to the news. And I'm like, why am I not happy?
Yeah.
So what I typically do before I go to bed, in the car, etc., is I'm listening to some type of leadership, some type of management, something to do with the business. Do I listen to music? Yes, of course. You got to have some personal time, but typically it's some type of drip positive influence from a leadership standpoint that's helped me. And it probably took me longer because I had to fix this before I could lead the team. That's how. Multiple sources. I'm big in Navy SEALs, so I listen to Jocko Willink at times. It just depends on the source at the time.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's beautiful. So just this, I'm going to pull this out of random. It could be insurance or anything else. If you could give one piece of amazing advice to someone today that's going to help change them, what do you think? And I'm throwing this at you out of nowhere. So if you can't think of it, let me know. But it could be something for insurance that would check this stat, or
It came to me right away.
Did it?
Fix your self-talk. So internally, we have self-talk. It has nothing to do with insurance.
Yeah.
But it has everything to do with life.
Yeah.
And then that would imply to any job you have, right?
Yeah.
We internally, naturally, everyone, I hate to admit this, are negative people internally unless we fight against that.
Yeah.
So if we fix our self-talk from when we wake up, when we go to bed, when we have a bad appointment, we have a good appointment, we fix that internal, that's going to propel us in whatever we do in life.
I love
That's pretty
that.
deep.
I love it though.
I am so glad I get to work with this guy on other committees.
I know. Isn't that
That
beautiful?
could go on for hours, but fix your
No,
self-talk.
see, that's beautiful. That is something, that is a great way to end this segment. Thank you so much, Joe. And I know I threw that at you and you answered absolutely beautifully. So it was not about business. It wasn't anything else. Do you have an offer or anything you'd like to share? Any upcoming events or anything with our audience today?
You know, that question was asked. We don't, because we had a shredded event. We plan to have a shredded event this spring, so look out for that again.
So yeah,
It
upcoming
was
shredded
a
event.
it was a
Those are
big
great.
event for us. Unfortunately, it rained halfway through it last year, so we lost a little bit. But hope to do it again. A lot of people have asked, so a free shredded event in the Greenfield area.
That's beautiful. I think shredded events are, I mean, especially if you have like my elderly neighbor, she's like, can you burn my pile of stuff? You know,
We had people
Yeah.
We had people in line 30 minutes before I got to work, and I got to work 30 minutes before the shredded truck came.
So we're
wow.
looking at, wow, that's,
We didn't fill the truck because it started to rain and people stopped.
yeah,
I assume this spring with good weather, we're gonna get there early.
yeah, too late
Nice.
spring. So you're not getting the rain and everything
Yeah.
else, but that's fabulous. I love that offer. And we will have a page for you on our website. Should be very, very soon. connectshow.com should be /Joe Tam.
Yep.
And people will be able to connect with you. They can follow your pages or your website and watch for that upcoming shredded event and get to know more about you and your agencies.
Good.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
We should have an upcoming video, correct?
Thank you. The first thing I want to mention is that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We've all heard that, okay? Know, and this is where your headshot comes in, okay? Know, they like to see who they're doing business with. They want to know who they're doing business with. One of the first things I do when I go to a website about a company is I look at the people who are involved in the company. Who's the staff, who's on the board of directors and all that kind of thing. And I want to see their pictures. The second thing is you want to like them. Okay. Like is really, really important because you're not going to do business with somebody you don't like. Okay. So does your headshot speak, oh, I like this person? I mean, does it automatically connect? Is it attractive? Okay, do I like that person? Are they about excellence? And really, it is about excellence. Selfies don't cut it, guys. Not when you're after multi-$1,000 worth of accounts and stuff like that. Put the coin in the right place in order to create the right impression. The next thing is trust. When your client finally meets you in person, do they feel like they've been lied to? Oh, I was looking for somebody who was 24 years old. You lied to me. Okay, think about it. So your headshot should be about who you really are. So you're telling the truth, but the best you.
I really like Bill Sargent's also.
Bill Sargent is like my professional everything. Photographer, he's just a professional everything. Just love Bill.
A little bit of a coach also.
A little bit of a coach.
At times.
And a
coaching.
comedian. He's a
And
good
a
joke
comedian.
teller.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Mhm.
Advice giver. Yes, absolutely. We have our guest Kyle here today. During Kyle's 20 years of experience as a transformational leader for a Fortune 500 company in Milwaukee, he developed a strong desire to share his knowledge and expertise with other new and experienced business leaders. He's expanded his corporate reach by providing leadership development, consultations, training, and coaching for the Corporate Training Center at WCTC in Waukesha.
Kyle is a certified trainer and coach specializing in leadership development, people management, team building, change management, and succession planning. Boy, all the things we just talked about with Joe.
Yeah.
He has helped both individuals and corporations maximize their leadership potential, and he can help you also. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you could totally relate to everything that Joe was talking about.
It really dovetailed nicely into what I do for my own business. Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like you guys planned it this way.
Well, you know, some things work out really nice.
We're going to refer back to our audience question, which is something that you did to accelerate your business this year.
Well, I really focused on that coaching and training, and Joe touched on it, which is how do I create a culture where people want to take ownership in their work and show initiative. And I found that leaders really have responded to that. And Joe touched on some of the effects of that. You become a better leader yourself, your team, you unlock the potential with your team. It just has these ripple effects, and it's a lot of fun. So I think since I focus my business on that aspect of it, I've really found that people have responded well to it and have seen a lot of success with their business.
I would say, honestly, most managers don't, I'm going to refer to that the same way that Joe was, but they don't find the same thing Joe did, and realizing I'm not leading, I'm managing. Not a lot of leaders can identify that in themselves.
And that's where I help them. Yeah, that
right?
is exactly right. So that's where in the coaching and the training, I really talk about it that way. How do we create ownership? How do we create an environment where people can show initiative? And a lot of times, and I'm sure Joe would agree with this, a lot of times it starts with self-restraint. You have to have the discipline to sort of hold back, even if you know the answer. A lot of times you do, but you have to create space for your people to come forward with what their ideas are, and you have to ask the questions and engage them.
Especially if you're changing your own mindset, not everyone around you knows that you're working on changing that. So, and then you got to help lead the team to understand that their manager is working on themselves too, right? So,
I wrote an article. It's on my website on how do you create a culture of ownership, and I identified 5 concepts, and one of them is you have to have patience and consistency, especially if your team's used to you doing all the thinking for them. As you change that, you may have to get comfortable with some awkward silences as you ask questions and you ask them to come forward. So I sort of share a framework of how to approach that in the article, but yeah, it's key.
So this transitions really well into our first question for you. So we hear a lot about the Great Resignation, turnover, everyone's jumping ship. What role does leadership play in that? We kind of touched on it with Joe, but I think you could probably define that even deeper a little bit, right?
Well, that's also something that has become, you talk about accelerating your business. What's become clear to me is just the connection between good leadership and retention. The saying, people don't quit their jobs, they quit their leaders. Typically, that is the case.
It's totally true.
And so, really understanding that, that connection. And also realistically, leaders can't do it all today. You're being asked to do more and more with less resources, less people, less everything. So it's not practical. But I think that's really where, you talk about how do I engage my employees. I read a stat, it's in a book called the Currency of Gratitude by Michelle Bailey. And it talks about people that feel empowered in their work are 5 times more likely to put in hard work, go above and beyond. They're 20% more likely to stay. You're talking about a small business. If you have, Joe said he had 8 employees, 20%, that's the difference between 2 people staying or leaving.
For sure.
And so that really can make the difference, can really impact the bottom line.
Yeah. So how does a leader create that stickiness with employees? How do you exactly get them to want to stay?
Well, first, you've got to build a good working relationship with them. I think that's the foundation for everything you're going to do as a leader. That's where you get to know what makes them tick, how do they approach problems, what's important to them. And that foundation, if you've and you have to take the time to do it. And sometimes that's hard for a type A
For
leader
sure.
personality, but
Mhm.
you've got to be intentional about it. And you've got to understand that I've looked into it. There's no shortcut. You just have to put in the time to do it.
Mhm.
But if you do that and you create that foundation, exactly, that really pays off later, because when you have a problem that you need to work through with them, or you have to quickly change to meet a customer's demand or work through some kind of issue as a leader, you're so much better off. And, I talk about those 5 critical concepts. You talk about self-restraint, comfortable with silence, consistency. I think you guys talked about it earlier.
Mhm.
When you're looking to delegate and empower, you're still responsible,
Mhm.
right? So that's where the follow-up comes in.
Mhm.
But the follow-up is done with a coaching mindset.
Mhm.
You're not taking ownership of it from them. You're helping them succeed with it. You're
Mhm.
providing the resources, the advice. You're helping them take it to the next level.
Now this is a total random question, but when you have somebody in a leadership position and they're doing this leadership thing, they're teaching and they're coaching, but they get frustrated and they sometimes let it out on the people that they're working with. What kind of advice can you give for people that are, because as you're leading, you might be getting overwhelmed yourself with learning how to do yourself and teach them at the same time.
Sounds like you might be speaking from experience.
Well, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I think it happens to everybody
Yes,
when
it's
you're
fair.
trying to multitask all those different things and you accidentally end up giving some bad attitude toward these people you're trying to teach and coach. Like, what are some
That's a
ways
fair
that-
question. Well, first of
yeah.
all, you have to understand that if you're going to really approach it this way, let's be honest about it. It does take more work and time and energy up front.
Mhm.
That's where you have to be consistent with it, though, because in the end, it should pay off for you if you stick with it.
Mhm.
But you have to have patience with yourself and patience with your team, because if they're used to you interacting with you in the old way of, I'm going to tell you what the problem is and I'm going to tell you the 5 things you need to do to solve the problem, doing all the thinking for them, if you're changing that equation,
Right.
you've got to cut yourself some slack and you got to cut them some slack, and you're going to have to be consistent and know that it's going to take some patience. It's going to take time and energy. It's not going to happen overnight.
That is the thing that people really have to work on, is that patience with yourself, I think, as you're trying to learn the new things on how to teach them how to do the new things.
Well,
Yeah.
and I
Absolutely.
think honestly, I'm just going to say, owning your crap. You act like a jerk. Say, I'm so sorry. I was overwhelmed at the moment. I'm owning it. And I'm saying, this is not how I want to move forward. Whatever. It just like taking that moment to recognize what you did is not how you want to be.
Right.
Is important
because
too.
everybody's human. You're going to,
Yeah. You brush
you
it
only
off,
have
and then they're
so
going to
much
think,
you
oh,
can have.
she's not.
Well,
she's not
you
real."
absolutely are right. And that's where, if you've taken the time to build a good working relationship, now
the person on the receiving end won't.
they may be more forgiving of you.
Right.
You're going to be in a better position to, like you said, circle back.
Yeah.
Because you already have that foundation of a good working
Mhm.
relationship with
Correct.
that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all sort of
It all
dovetails
comes back to that
together.
relationship thing.
It
Always.
does. It always does. It's so
Always.
critical.
Always.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with both types of leadership.
Sure.
Very much. And
We
I
all
have.
have. You know the
Yeah,
difference when
yeah.
you see it.
And in my last position, I said I didn't leave because one specific manager had the best leadership skills I have ever seen out of anyone in my entire career. I wouldn't say that everyone in the corporation shared the same leadership values and leadership ways as this individual did, and I have seen the worst of the worst. That taking credit for someone else's work. I want to. I've seen the worst of the worst and the best of the best, and it is.
Well, the way I would
Far and few between.
Yeah, the way I would describe it is, if somebody is consciously, like Joe was talking about, working on himself to be a better leader, and then how to better unlock the potential with his team and help them succeed. If I'm working for somebody like that, I'm thinking, okay, this person has my best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be a lot more forgiving. I'm going to be a lot more bought into them, to their success. I'm going to be a lot more willing to go above and beyond
Mm-hmm.
than if I'm working for somebody who I think is
Right.
only interested in their success.
Exactly.
And you know the difference right away.
Exactly. Exactly. Are there what are some resources available to help? I'm thinking that to help people in their culture to be successful.
So
like
through my business, KB Breakthrough Consulting, the website, I have a resources page.
Oh.
So on there, I've got an article where I really sort of reinforce what we've talked about and give you a framework. There's other articles on there. There's a short quiz if you want to test yourself on how you do in terms of empowering your team.
That's cool.
And and then I'd like also there's the book Michelle Bailey, The Currency of Gratitude, and then another book I would recommend. It's Your Ship by Michael Abershoff, and if you just look up It's Your Ship, and it's written by a Navy captain or a former Navy captain. It's a really good leadership book that I think will help people.
Nice.
I love
Good
that.
tips.
Yeah, I love that. And those are, I mean, mostly free resources. You could probably get the books on Kindle or something
Absolutely.
or whatever. You know, that's really cool. And the test, that sounds interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
We
just
should
be
take it
interested
and
to
compare
see.
notes.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how I fell in that, just because I've seen so many different things, and I still observe leadership in different ways. I'm just maybe not as vocal about it as I used to be.
Well, the other thing too is this approach applies whether you have people reporting to you or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you can apply to the people you work with.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So do you have any other specials or offers, any events coming up?
Yeah. So I have on my website, I have a connect or contact me page. So normally I do a half-hour free initial consultation. I'd be happy to move that up to an hour and spend some time. So if somebody fills out that contact page, if they just want to put Connect One in there, give them a free hour consultation, really just to help you understand where you're at on your leadership journey and what are some of your goals, and if there's anything I can do to help.
And do you work specifically with small, medium, large businesses?
No,
or
that's a great
above?
question. I work with small to medium sized businesses typically, and I've really through exposure through WCTC and my own business, and I also do some work for UWM. So I work across industries. So I've done work in manufacturing. I've done it in services. You know, good leadership is good leadership.
Yeah.
You know
what I love
no
about
matter
it
what,
is that if you're working with a small to medium business, especially maybe even in the medium scale, you can help bring out this leadership value before maybe the business is going to explode one day, and then they're going to lead them correctly from go, rather than you're already huge and now you got to change the entire culture.
Yeah, it's really
So that's kinda
impactful
cool.
when you have a business of 100 people, let's say, and maybe you've got 12 people in middle management, to get them together as a team, to take them through training and see how they gel as a group.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can be powerful.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Should we throw the if you could change, or if you could add some serious value to someone today quickly, is there anything that you could provide, a quick note, a quick kind of what I asked Joe?
Yeah, you know, I think the key thing is to really put a priority on building good relationships.
Yes.
And really making sure you are. So a lot of times I work with people who say, yeah, you know, I'd really like to connect more with people, or I'd like to get to know people better. Well, you can say that all you want, and you may have the best intentions, but what are you doing specifically to make that happen? And that's what I challenge people in the coaching and training I do. I need specifics. So I'm going to schedule time on my calendar to go around and talk to my team first thing in the morning before I get caught up in the day and the craziness of the day. Whatever it is, there needs to be specifics around it and some way to hold yourself accountable and be able to measure that commitment. And that's really where you get down to the meat of it.
I love that. Tracy and I are all about building relationships and keeping the relationship strong. It's really important.
Well, it sounds like, you know, you're very conscious, both of you, around this leadership, and you've looked at it yourself, and you've seen from your own experience and working and what good leadership is and isn't. I'm sure you'll agree. Usually, you can sense badly. It's apparent, and usually it's really coming from somebody who's more interested in their own success than your success, and it's very transparent. You can see it as clear as day.
Yeah, and sometimes it gets a little confusing, though, I have to say, because sometimes, like I said earlier about they get overwhelmed. It's like they're trying to be really good leaders, but then they get overwhelmed with what they've created, and then
that's where you really,
and then that's when the relationship part helps really good. So there's a middle ground too, I think. Also, there's
a transition. You have to, like I said, you have to have patience with yourself. The other thing too is you have to be consistent. So if you start down this path, and the minute you sort of, you're trying to empower your team, you're engaging them, you're asking them what they think before you're telling them what you think they ought to do.
Right.
And if things start to go off the rails a little bit, a big mistake leaders make is they try to jump back in and take control. And what happens is you sort of set yourself back to square one.
Completely.
So you have to commit to consistency and have patience with yourself and the team to work your way through that.
Well, and I think some people just think leadership comes naturally, and I don't think it does for everyone. I think, you have to learn and experience and grow, and it's not just today I'm going to manage 5 people and it's just what I'm going to do. I don't think that is just a natural transition for some people.
Well, I had a pretty lengthy corporate career, and if I had a dime for every time I saw somebody who was a good individual contributor, by mere fact of that, is then promoted as a manager without any idea of how to manage people, I'd be a wealthy man.
For sure. For sure.
All the time.
Promote from within.
Smart people get that's a whole different ball game, and you need to prepare yourself for that.
Absolutely.
You need to train for that. You need to be conscious of developing that muscle.
Yeah. I agree. I experienced it, obviously. So, for many, many, many years.
Well, it was so nice to have you come on today.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will have a page on our website, connectshow.com/Kyle Berger. And it should be on hopefully
later today.
By the end of today. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Leadership conversation. I mean, it is the end of how you accelerate your business, right? Like we're ending our acceleration month, and when you start to have to lead and bring people in to your business, and this is a transition I'm currently facing. Like I don't want to stop taking clients, so it's at a point you have to consider hiring, and it's a scary place to be. But it's an exciting place to be. So you kind of know you've accelerated when you're working on the leadership aspect of it.
Right.
So Kyle and Joe had great things to say about
it. I know. I like the feedback about the being patient with yourself and Joe's self-talk stuff. Like both of those together, great.
Yeah.
Be patient and talk to yourself nice. Yeah.
I know that's right.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
No.
And the quote for today was, "You're going against the wind." So I think it just all ties in really nice.
It's
really good brain stuff today. So I want to thank all the volunteers for helping out today, and thanks for everybody for coming in to the studio. Next week we are starting all of our holiday shows. It's already December. I cannot believe it.
We have all the people giving for the show. And you know what I found out? Today is Giving Tuesday. Did not know that. So thank you, volunteers.
Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Today is Giving Tuesday. So thank you, volunteers. Thank you, guests, for coming. Thank you, everyone that shares this. If you're watching it after the fact, like, subscribe, share, tag a friend. I never say that. Tag a friend and say, hey, watch this. Kyle had something amazing to say. Joe had something great. The quote of the day was fabulous. Something to help expose our show and keep it going. Yeah, heck yeah. Get us more followers and more volunteers. So we will see you next week for our December holiday shows starting.